What's going on tonight, Cam?
Podcasting in the evening. That's what's going on, Mitch. What about you?
Got a little scratch in the throat, so I hope that won't affect things too much tonight. But I have a mug full of my secret weapon when I was in radio, and normally, like I would have been just a tea. My wife, I had to get some tea from her because I don't have any tea right now, and she allowed me to use some. Was it a gunpowder green tea, so it does not taste like gunpowder. But
I mean, that's good.
right, the secret weapon is you put a cough drop in it, and it just helps to soothe the throat and keep things
Mm.
cleared out. Because the last thing you want to do is get gunky while you're talking on the air. So
So your secret weapon is liquid lozenge.
liquid lozenge, exactly.
TM TM TM.
And just for truth's sake, there's two cough drops in this cup. So
All right, folks, you heard it here first. Mitch is high on the menthol,
it's good. Well, they're Ricolas. Normally, I would do Halls, but with something
yeah.
like this. But
But you're going fancy tonight, so there you go.
yeah, well, I'm good. It's what's in the house. I don't
I'll
have
I'll be
anything
honest
else.
with the lack of Lederhosen is very disappointing if you're drinking Ricola.
Sorry, I'll work on that.
All right, very good.
You don't want to see that little,
Eh,
little short shorts.
I mean, you're sitting, so I just want the top.
Well, if I'm wearing it, you're getting the whole experience. So
That's fair. I suppose I've earned that trauma.
right on.
So what
So
are we talking about, huh?
I don't know. What are we talking about tonight?
I mean, I know what I want to talk about, but you had
Yeah.
another idea. I think we've got good ideas tonight.
Well, I think I might bench that idea because I don't want to have do like a 2 hour show tonight.
Okay.
But I know that did you have any follow up for OS or Mac OS Ventura? I see it's on the show notes.
I did not put it there.
Okay, I didn't put it there either. I'm assuming you put the other thing in there though. All
I
right.
did.
Well, I got a text message the other day about something that you wanted to talk about tonight. So why don't we start there?
Yeah, so this whole story starts with I get one of the few newsletters that I subscribe to is Matthew Casanelli's Shortcuts newsletter. Because he is one of the premier shortcuts professional sort of nerds out there. And in his newsletter, every once in a while he'll recommend an app or whatever. And there was one called Ellie, and it was the way he put it was he's excited to see this new category of app that combines your calendar and your tasks and allows you to time box your tasks on your calendar. And I was like, well, this is maybe a new category of app. It is definitely not a new category of idea. Like this has been around as long as agile project management has been around, is time
Mm-hmm.
boxing, right? Here's your list of tasks. You mark out the time on your calendar for how long you're going to work on it for a specific task and when you're going to work on it so that everyone on your team can see what's getting done when I can bug you, when I can't, that sort of stuff, when your head's down. So it's not a new idea by any stretch of the imagination, but apparently there are in recent months apps that have come out specifically geared toward this idea of calendar and tasks together so you can time box, your tasks around your events and that sort of stuff. And I don't know about you, Mitch, but my calendar somehow has more authority in my brain than my to-do list does.
Okay.
So like I'll see something on my to-do list. I'm like, I know it says it's due today. I'll do it tomorrow. But if it's on my calendar, well, that means that it happens today because it's on a calendar. I can't just push calendar events back. It's on the calendar. Like this is serious. My to-do list is just suggestions or whatever. So I was like, all right, I'll check this app out. It's free. So I check it out and it only works with Google calendars currently, which is a bummer because all of my calendars are iCloud. So, but it's made by this, indie developer named Christian that lives down in Texas. And I just emailed him. I was like, hey, any, chance that you're going to include iCloud or is iCloud integration anywhere on your roadmap in the future? He responds back in like 10 minutes. Hey, so glad you're checking out the app. Yeah, it's on my roadmap. Um, Probably next week, if not the week after, it'll be in there. It's like, holy crap. Okay, great. So then I'm thinking, and I'm realizing, seems like a nice guy, cool little app, but it's siloed, right? Like I have to import everything into it. I have to put my tasks into that. And that's not necessarily I didn't want my calendars and my tasks tucked away in this little corner in this app that didn't really interact with anything else. And then I realized I've been using Fantastical forever. Fantastical has reminders integration in it. You can type your tasks or your to-dos in natural language, just like your events. And then I was like, well, I use a Mac for my personal life and I use a Mac for work. And Fantastical has calendar sets. So I can have a work calendar set that I has my Outlook and everything and all my work events and all my work tasks there. Then I can have a personal calendar set that has all my personal tasks and personal events and personal calendars. And so I'm at work, I just look at one calendar set. And when I'm on my phone or on my other personal device, I look at my personal one. And I have one system between Fantastical and Reminders that covers my entire personal life calendar and to dos and my entire work life calendar to dos. Same app, same experience, same platform across the board. And it has been really, really, really nice to use. It's only been a handful of days, um, but being able to look at my work calendar and schedule your time box, right? When I'm going to work on certain things before meetings, after meetings, that sort of stuff, as well as when I'm going to get stuff done for my daughter or go shopping or, stuff for the dog or stuff at church. Being able to just have all of that in one spot, whether it's an actual event or travel time or prep time or tasks, and just looking in one place on any of my devices, phone, iPad, computer, work computer, right? It's all there, it's all in one spot, it's all consistent, and I don't have to think about it anymore. And plus, with the reminders, you get Siri integration and location reminders too, which technically you could kind of do with things, but it's not as easy because it's not a first party integrated app like reminders is. Do I miss the way things looks? Yes, absolutely. But um this is just so easy and so convenient, and just like I don't even have to think about it anymore. Like, oh, what am I doing? Go to my calendar. What time, what am I going next? Go to my calendar. What are my tasks? Go to my calendar. It's all in one spot, and you can add things to your calendar and to reminders all within Fantastical. And then if I'm out shopping, I can just pull up reminders on my phone and just look at my shopping list. And reminders even has smart lists based on tags. So I have an errands tag that, regardless of what list an item is on, if I just tag it as errands, like something I have to do while I'm out, I can just look at that list while I'm out, and it gathers all of the things I need to do while I'm out of the house, regardless of what list they're on. And I have that view too. So it's, if you can't tell, I'm a little excited, and I feel very nerdy that I'm this excited about calendars and time boxing my to dos. But the way that my brain works, the fact that it's taken me this long to figure this out is really annoying. But I'm also glad that like this just clicks in my brain, like it just works. And I've tried I've tried all the to dos tasks or to do apps, right? And the fact that I've just come back to reminders with the Fantastical combination is kind of funny to me, but it just, like I said, it just clicks in my brain, and there's no friction. It just boom, it just goes where it needs to go, and I'm good to go, and I can move on. And that right there, I think, is the most important part, is the lack of friction and the ease and speed at which I'm able to either add stuff or check stuff. Um, so yeah, that's the long-winded answer. I'll shut up now.
So something that I was looking into after I got your text the other day is that, something I want to do for the next year is start finding ways to cut the amount of money I'm spending on my technology
Mm-hmm.
and just subscriptions in general. And I'm considering actually canceling. I think I actually did set it up to cancel already, but canceling Fantastical and trying just the Apple Calendar
Mm-hmm.
for managing everything, and see how that works for me, because I don't know if I use enough of the features in Fantastical to make it worth it. But one thing I did do is I looked at Todoist, which has been my task manager for the last year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's $35 and it's going to renew in January. And I'm like, I think I can do something better than this that's going to be cheaper or free. And I thought, I remember us talking a year ago about task managers.
Mm-hmm.
And what was funny is that at the time I was looking at OmniFocus being like $50 a year and thinking, oh, you know what, I'll do, or no, it was like, no, it was like $10 a month or something like that I was paying.
It's not cheap.
It's
Yeah.
not cheap. But I decided, oh, well, I'll abandon that and go to Todoist, because Todoist is only $35 a year. So, you know, that works for me. Well,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm looking at trying to cut that down even more. And I thought, well, Reminders is not a bad app for, it's come a long way since since they first
Yes, it has. Yes, it
released
has.
it, because they didn't even have like, was it recurring events when they first released that. So it was useless to me at the time,
Yeah,
because
let alone smart lists,
yeah,
right?
I live with, everything and reoccurring events and such, because I don't want to think about it. I want it to just pop in when I need it, and, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I got thinking about, we talked about Good Task last year,
Mm-hmm.
and that being basically a front end on top of Reminders. And I
Correct.
started doing a little digging into that and what the
Mhm.
costs were and stuff like that. You can buy a license for it for $10 and it's yours forever.
What an old school pricing
I
philosophy.
I know, is that crazy? You can subscribe for $10 a year, but he says basically that's just to support the development of the app. It's not, it doesn't get you more than paying outright for the app. But if you love the app and you want to support it, that's a way to support it. So so I'm on Good Task now, and I went ahead and plunked down the $10, and I actually really like it. You know,
I haven't looked at it in gosh, a year and a half.
yeah.
It's very powerful
Mm-hmm.
for what I mean compared to what you can do with reminders, right? And
Yeah.
that's what it is a more complex, powerful front end, as you said, for reminders. I remember a year and a half ago when I was looking at it, I tried it for a while, and the the design and experience was pretty clunky, and it was hard for me to figure out some stuff. And I'm interested just to check it out, just to see how much or how little it's changed in that time. What's your experience been this time around with how it looks, how easy it is to use, how easy it is to understand, to how to do certain things?
Yeah. So initially my thought was, wow, this is really utilitarian. Like
Yeah.
it, you know,
Yep.
and so as I'm digging into it, I'm realizing everything is customizable in this app.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't like the way something looks, there might be a way to fix it. And one of the things that I really hated is when you open up the new task screen. So you're going to type in a new task. There's a chunk of stuff like right underneath that. That's all their quick actions. So you can
Oh, I
add it.
forgot all about
You can
those.
add a
Yeah, those
day.
are
You can,
crazy.
yeah. And there's a lot of them in there. Well, what I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize is you can go into settings, and I went in and did this, and you can delete them all if you didn't want to. You can not have them show up at all. There's just how many, there's a, option in the settings for how many rows do you want, and the default is 4. So you end up with like this 4 by 10 grid of all these different things that you can go in and do as a quick action. Well, if you want to, you can just say 0 rows, and they never show up. They're gone. One
Right.
that I used was to add a day. So if I wanted to go in and just defer something to the next day, I could do that and just hit add a day to it. So I left that one in there. But what Good Task allows you to do is actually go in and just delete all the ones that you don't want to use. and they're easy enough to set up if you want to add them back in. So,
Hmm.
or if you think of something, hey, I really wish that I could get a quick action to do this, and you can go in, and there may be a way to do that. It's actually the system that they've designed for doing that is relatively complex, or a little bit more complex than I would have thought. So, so it's good. That's something that you could really spend some time with and get good at. And the other thing was the design of the app, and it is skinnable. So you can go in and you can customize the way you want it to look, like by developing your own, or they've got some options in the app to change the color of the system, or there's a link there to go to their forums where people have designed and exported their theme, and you can download their themes and try them. And so I'm using a theme that I downloaded from their forums that I really like, that I think it looks really nice. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I don't remember that being an option last time I checked. So that feels like progress, Mitch.
Yeah, I mean it's so customizable. I was sitting there thinking, like, what else do I want to change about this app? And it seemed like every time I thought, you know what, I really like to change this. If I dug deep enough into the settings, I could find some way to affect it. So it's good. I think that app even has come a long way since we tried it. I tried it last year, but I
Hmm.
didn't try it for very long. I think there's like a 3-day trial that I poked around on it and then gave up to go to Todoist. So, but I'm excited about it. I think it's a really cool app.
Indeed. Look at us at the end of the year talking about calendars and task managers. What podcasters we are.
Yeah, we started last year talking about it because
Hmm.
I was looking at it and I subscribed to Todoist on January 16th. So it would have been right around that time that we talked about it. So, but yeah,
Oh, Good Task has calendar integration too.
yeah, it
Just
does. Hmm.
just told me good evening, my friend.
Yeah. So one thing that I do like, first off, last year one of the reasons that I had chosen Todoist was the Kanban style of
Hmm.
task lists. I just realized I didn't really use that hardly at all. I had some of my projects set up like that, but it just like it seemed like a lot of extra fluff that I really didn't need. So um Good Task has a kind of Kanban. It's not really set up the way Todoist was or is, but it's like, if you want to set tags on different tasks or something like that, you can basically sort in different columns. But it's not something where you say, hey, I'm going to have a column and then I'm going to start another column with a different list. And then I'm going to start another column with a different list. It's not really set up the same way, um, but it has a feature that looks like that. But again, I didn't really use it that much, so it's something that it was easy to just say, hey, I really don't need that. So, but one thing that I do like is that each morning I have templates set up specifically for work, because not every day warrants the same things, the same tasks. So I set up different templates so that each morning I pick up my phone and I go in and I tap the little, it looks like a little calendar icon on the bottom,
Hmm.
and it comes up and says, "Good morning, friend."
Yeah.
And then it pops up and says, "Well, here's a list of to dos that you have on your list today. Would you like to add these?" And add them. Here's some suggested to dos that you have in here. Would you like to get these things done today? And you can uncheck them and check them as you wish, and then add them. And then the next list is like, here's all your templates. Are there any templates you want to add to today? It's like, well, you know what? I do. There's a truck unload tonight, so I need to have this one, and I need to make sure that I have this and this in there. And so I'm able to tap those and then add those in. Now, one goofy thing is that it will show you the whole list of all the to dos, and then if you
Hmm.
scroll down to the bottom, it says add. and that's all it says. So if you hit add, it will ask you to create a new task. So if I mistakenly do that, I'll just cancel out of that. But then if you scroll back up to the top, you can hit a close button, but that doesn't like add that stuff to your list. I think it is actually added to your list, but it doesn't finish that. So, and I'm guessing this is just a bug in the app. But then you have to go back into it, and then you scroll back down the list again, and now there's a finish button to hit. So I'm guessing that it's just a bug that they're probably going to get ironed out. But it should have an add and finish option when you first get to that last page, and it doesn't. So, but again, probably just a bug, something that'll get fixed.
Hopefully.
Mm-hmm. But I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a really cool app. Uh, One thing that I really like about using reminders as the back end is that my wife and I have a couple of shared reminders lists.
Mm-hmm.
So when like I have one, my inbox is open to her as well, so she can throw stuff into my inbox if there's something that she needs me to do. Like today, she needed my sister's email address, so she just put a task in there that said, send Jamie, so and so's email address, and so I got that. She sent me a text and said, "Hey, I added something to your list. If you can take care of it today, I'd appreciate it." And so I went in and I popped it open, and sure enough, there's a task. It had a time for me today to get it done by, so that it was in my today view as well, so I could just scroll through the today view and see it. And I told her to do that, so that way I would see it in my today view.
Well, so that answers my question. I was like, why didn't she just send you a text message to ask you? But it didn't even dawn on me that she could put like a due time on it so that you would
Mhm.
get a notification and be like, oh yeah, I need to
Oh
do
yeah,
that.
that's right. I got to get that done.
That's actually pretty clever.
Yeah, so that worked out pretty nice today because I'm at work and I was like, okay, what else do I need to get done today? And I'm scrolling through the list, and there's a right on the list there. It said send Jamie, so and so's email address, and I thought, well, that's something I can do right now. So I went in real quick and I text her basically the contact information that I had for my sister, and then went back and checked that off the list. So
And you get a sense of accomplishment too.
yeah,
See?
and the app actually has some nice little sound effects too, if you like sound effects. So just having that little ding, to yeah, it's good. So.
Good air horn. Just let everyone know. Yeah,
Yeah,
I did all my tasks.
I got all my tasks done.
Now
But
let's rave.
yeah.
Anyways,
So now I've got till December 16th to decide if I'm going to continue using Fantastical or if I'm going to switch back and just use the calendar. So I know there's going to be some features of Fantastical that I'm going to miss. So I've got to judge if I'm going to miss them enough to keep paying. I think it's like $5 a month or whatever. So
I think I just paid the annual one for Fantastico because I don't have a monthly sub for that.
I might look at the annual if it's something that I decide I want to do because I'm kind of getting on that bandwagon of not having a monthly charge for things either. So I might look at that and see. That might be worth it. I'm guessing it's $50 a year, and I would guess.
I'm going right now. I shall let you know. Of course, it cannot connect to the. Don't be dumb. App Store for the win.
It is $4.99 a month, and
It's $39.99.
oh, that's actually not bad at all.
Yeah, $39.99.
And $64.99 for families. So not that I probably wouldn't do it, and yeah, whatever. So it looks like family is $7.99 a month if you decide to do that. But
oh, dude, they upped Disney Plus by 20,
oh yeah,
$30.
yeah. Disney Plus is more expensive now.
Well, I
Yeah,
got in before they update. Mine was last week. I
yeah,
got up and it was 79.99, which it always has been, but now it's a 109.99.
yeah, and the monthly went up to 10.99, I think. So
Yeah.
it
Well, I
it
got
sucks, but the kind of
11 months to figure that one out.
yeah, and that's one of the things that it's been worth it for us. So we watch stuff on there all the time.
Oh yeah, I mean, so do I and so does my daughter, but I mean, going from 80 and then upping it $30, like that's like a what, 38-40% upcharge. That's a
Yeah,
significant bump.
yeah, it's
They're
it's
still going to get their 109.99 for me. I just won't be happy about it.
yeah,
I have a 6-year-old, you know?
right. And tons of Star Wars stuff on there. So
Oh, and that,
gotta
yes,
gotta
of
watch your
course.
Star Wars. So all right. Well, I had an app that I started using this last week from it's on SetApp, and it's also available outside of SetApp, obviously for subscription or for a payment. I didn't look it up before before we went on, but like a lot of these like window manager apps
Uh-huh.
where um, you can basically tile your screen with windows.
Yes.
There's one called Mosaic that I really like.
That's
Um,
a apt name.
yeah. So what I've liked about this app in particular that I haven't that other apps have kind of fallen short on me for is that when you pick up an app, there's a bar at the top, and I want to see if I can move that to the bottom, honestly, because it would work better for me. Because on top, it gets in the way too much when I'm trying to resize and move windows around. If I don't want to use that, so I'm gonna look at that, but I haven't done that yet. But what I like about it, because Mac OS has the rounded rectangle windows now, it actually leaves a little bit of space in between the windows, so it looks really clean and really nice. So you've got your window here, and then there's a little bit of space where your wallpaper peeks through, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have the next window. So if you got two side by side windows, you basically had two rounded rectangles next to each other with a little bit of space on the outsides, a little bit of space in the middle, and I think it looks really clean and nice versus some of the other apps that basically butt everything up right against each other
Mm-hmm.
or something like
Do you
that that
have
doesn't look as
do you
nice.
have control over the width of that gutter?
Again, that's something that I need to dig into a little bit. Uh, I would think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, because I use my window manager of choice is Moom,
Hmm.
and I'm able to separate windows, and I can choose, anywhere from 2 to 50 pixels. I have mine in a nice even 8. But Mosaic is a much better name than Moom. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to dig through this a little bit because I'm sure there's probably here's a preference pane for it. Um, yeah, you can customize layouts, positioning. Um,
I'm looking on their website right now.
yeah. So I'll have to report back on this and um, do a little bit of digging. But oh, here it is. Default gutter. Right now it's 32 pixels. So yeah, that is customizable. So if you don't like them quite so far away,
Uh huh.
you can tighten them up.
Yeah,
I like the default. It looks nice, but
well, and especially on your big iMac too. I
yeah.
imagine something like this is extra useful
Hmm.
compared to my little dinky MacBook Air. Now, when I have it connected to my 4K display, then it's I'm able to enjoy it even more. But
It seems
these
like
are
you can go in and like customize layouts too if you want. So
mhm.
if you like the idea of having like right now I've got I've got the zoom window in kind of the right third of the screen, and then I've got Adobe Audition and Safari on the other side. And they're overlapping each other a little bit right now, but I could set those up so that they were taking up their own amount of space. And then with Stage Manager, all that stuff saves, so you can have all these nice clean spaces that you can swap in and out of.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think we're nearing peak desktop. Because I was even thinking about that. Like I have a couple commands in my Moom, which is just a weird thing to say. In my Moom. Um, but having them set up like that way and then with Stage Manager being able to just swap like the app pairs out and that sort of
yeah,
stuff. Yeah, that's oh man, that makes the nerd in me excited.
and this is almost completely replaced using spaces on my, at least on my
Mm-hmm.
27-inch iMac. I can't update my laptop, so and because of the screen size, it's a 13-inch MacBook Pro, so I still tend to use spaces on that one. So because full screen apps at that size are a little bit more palatable than trying to fit a bunch of little windows on the screen.
This is true.
So cool. All right. Well, I think we've got a little bit of time to kind of poke at this. But my idea for the show tonight was to go into our purchased apps on our mobile devices. I was looking at probably the iOS devices or iPad OS devices, and then just hit some highlights of things that we've purchased this last year that are basically newer apps that we like, newer to us, apps that we've purchased and looked at, and maybe just talk. Obviously, if we may have purchased hundreds of apps, so we're not going to go through them all. But and this includes free apps too. But now I got to figure out where the purchased apps are. That must be in the App Store.
Indeed.
But
I
I
start
thought
with one.
you can go ahead and start with one. You betcha.
So this came as a recommendation from the Mac Stories weekly newsletter, and it's a game, and it's called Isle of Arrows Tower Defense. Have you ever played Monument Valley,
Yeah.
or at least seen the artwork?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tower defense game with that style of artwork,
Okay.
and each I think it's like $5.99 or $6.99, but like there's I think there's like 5 different guilds that all have different features. There's different sort of levels that have like either like arrow towers or nature towers or fire towers or whatever. And every time you play the game, the cards you draw and the island that you're on to defend generates randomly and differently. And so each game is completely different than the previous because it's just random. And as you progress, you gain access to different types of cards that are more powerful or give you extra ways to change the gameplay. So there's like the normal campaign mode, then there's like the daily defense where it's the 24 hours and you try and score the best on the specific game, and then there's like the extra challenging ones. Um, and it's just a lot of fun. It's also very frustrating because like you have to make it through 40 waves in order to have officially defended the isle. And the amount of times I've died on 37, 38, or 39. Like the last guy had like 2% health. You just go. But it's a really pretty game. And the amount of different types of towers and uh, power ups, for lack of a better term. They don't feel like power ups in this game like they do in most of these games. Um, this just feels like really, really well thought through, really well designed, and it's very replayable because of how different each game is to the one that came before it. So if you're into anything at all like that, I highly recommend Isle of Arrows Tower Defense. I've had it for 3 weeks, and I've played it more than I care to say out loud.
Well, that's gonna have to go on the list. So looks like I'm looking at the Mac App Store right now,
Hmm.
and it's $5.99. And
That sounds right.
I don't have another device to look at what it's like and or what it is on the iPhone or iPad.
I didn't even think about playing it on my Mac. Oh boy, I've been playing it on my phone.
But I
Watch out.
just ruined you. So I'm gonna just because you can go back and look in your purchases to the beginning of the year, and I'm just gonna sweep through here and see if there's anything that is really noteworthy. It looks like I started using Obsidian this year. So,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's. I don't know. I think I was on it last 2021, the
mhm.
very end of the year, maybe. I don't know. I have to. The Chipotle app. That's a must.
We talked. I know we talked earlier this year about Notion. I'm not going to reiterate that. I'll be honest with you. I'm not using it all that much anymore. I've settled into a combination of Drafts and Obsidian for a lot of text. But there is an app called Sport Alerts or Sports Alerts that I am using on my iPhone right now. It promises that it has live activities, but for some reason I just have not been seeing any live activities on my phone. And I've gone through and done a lot of the troubleshooting that a lot of or that I've seen on the website,
Hmm.
and it's just I haven't had anything really work yet. So I'll keep plugging away at that, and hopefully I can get those live activities working.
The only ones that I get, and they seem really random, are with carrot weather.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
get
like,
carrot weather every once in a while, but it's
but like
yeah,
only
you'll
after like I've opened the app, and then it's like the app has been on in the background, and then
mhm,
like I'll just open it, and I'm like, oh, hey, here's a live alert or live
yeah.
activity. But I mean, if it's been in the background for a while, I mean, it's not. It's that's the whole point. They don't take up memory. But um, another fun game that I don't play as much now because I have Isle of Arrows to occupy my time is a game called Townscaper, and it's just this really, again, I'm a sucker for pretty. But the description goes: build quaint island towns with curvy streets, build small hamlets, soaring cathedrals, canal networks, or sky cities on stilts, block by block. No goal, no real gameplay, just plenty of building and plenty of beauty. That's it. And so you start out with like a house on stilts in the middle of an ocean, and you just kind of like build a town just by tapping and stuff, and you can change the colors and build it as high or as wide as you want. It's a fun little way to make art on your phone out of cute little tiny little houses. It's called Townscaper. I enjoy it.
So you said Townscaper?
Yeah, all one word. Townscaper. It's just kind of, one of those games that's just full of whimsy, and I need that in my life from time to time.
Sure. Yeah,
Oh sure.
it does look cute. Oh sure.
Oh sure.
Yeah, I betcha. All right. So we'll get that. I'm putting a handful of these in show notes. I'm not going to promise that we're going to have everything in show notes, but we'll get a few of these recommendations in the show notes. A couple of apps that I started using this year. For one, we've talked at length about Logos and using something like that for doing Bible study.
Mhm.
An app that my pastor's really big on and is really good, I think, for really entry level type uh, um, study because it gives you just a little bit to get started. Is an app called Literal Word. It is the one that we use, and I don't know if they've got another version. Is the New American Standard version, and it it basically gives you some Greek to Greek and Hebrew to look at. It'll give you just enough information to kind of get you a little bit past the base level, like just reading the scripture. So if you
Mhm.
want to look at the original languages a little bit, you can. But it's I think it's a really good app for like if you've got you know somebody that really doesn't have the time and energy to learn something like Logos. It gives you a little bit of information to go by. My biggest problem with the app is I really do not like how you navigate through the Bible. It's I got so used to in Logos just being able to type the abbreviation of the book and then the address real simply. So and I can do that really quick. Where with literal word, you swipe over to the side to bring up the list of all the books of the Bible. You tap on the book, you tap on the chapter, and then the verse. And to me, that's a lot of taps
Yeah.
that I don't need to do.
Yep.
So,
I'm with you on
but
that one.
but
No
it's a good
fun.
it's a good one that if you've got somebody that wants a good Bible, little piece of Bible software or app for their mobile device, it gives you a little bit to go by. Another app that I tried this year that I actually don't have a lot of use for, but I really like using it when I need it is LumaFusion. So being able to do video editing on a mobile device and have a lot of features to be able to play with. I think this really is the next best thing to having Final Cut on our mobile devices. So
Yeah.
it's a good app. I really like it.
I just haven't bit the bullet on it yet. I'm
Yeah.
still holding out hope. I don't know why, but maybe it's because I'm stubborn.
There's an app that I discovered through SetApp called Paste. It's a clipboard manager that runs universally through all your iOS devices and macOS devices. And so if you and I know that there's universal clipboard between devices, but that doesn't always work perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And Paste keeps a history of all of the stuff that you're throwing into the clipboard. So anything that you're copying or copying or cutting on any of the devices. So you can actually, like, if you've copied 5 different things and that 5 things ago you needed, you can actually go into the app and grab that and paste that in. So something that I used to do at the radio station when I worked there was I would copy all the stuff, all my news stories and everything. And I'm trying to remember, I think I used Launchbar has this feature built in. So I would copy everything and then I would go in and paste it all into where I needed it into the document that I used to create my scripts and such. But this kind of gives you some of those same options, is to be able to go back into your clipboard history and grab something in case you've had multiple things that you've copied since you copied the thing that you wanted. So it works pretty nice that way. I finally got screens working properly. Have you
Oh,
used screens
really? Okay.
before? Yeah,
No, I know what it is. I've never had a need for it, but
it's a
um,
VNC client, so
mhm.
you can use that to remote into your different machines. So the machines that I deal with at church, I'm able to access from home, at least for now, because there's certain people that are insisting on getting a Windows machine for the sound booth. So that will end at that point. I don't think there's screens available for
Why
Windows,
do they
but I'll
want
have
a
to look
Windows
in.
machine back there?
Man, I don't know. I told them what we needed, and they were like, "Well, we want a Windows machine." I think part of it is the cost. So, to be quite honest with you, if we're going to get a desktop machine, that we need it to be able to run 4 monitors. So that's severely with the M1 machines, it severely limits what we can grab because we can't just get an iMac because those are
Mhm.
all still on the M1s, and I don't think those will run more than one or more than 2 monitors. But what I came down to is you probably would have to go with a studio, a Mac Studio to do it, which it's $2,000 to walk in the door. So, and then you need a monitor, and then we got to get a mouse and keyboard to go with it, and so it's just kind of piles on the expense. So that's what they're looking at. But anyway, screens is what I was talking about, and it works really nicely once you kind of figure out how to do doing stuff on the same network is really easy, but there's a little added complexity when it comes to setting up off-site computers. So, and how cool is it to be able to grab your iPad and remote into one of your machines to be able to do something real quick? It's not super convenient from a usability standpoint. You're not going to spend a lot of time using it that way, but just to be able to remote into a machine and be like, you know what, hey, I was at work the day that macOS Ventura come out, and so I pulled my machine up on my iPad Mini and started the update. So because I wanted to have it all updated before I got home, so I was able to manage that from work on my iPad, which is crazy. So it's good.
Yeah, that's always something that like I wanted to have a need for, but never. But if uh if you want to um if you want to have your screens and VNC itch scratched hard, you need to listen to Connected, or so I'm told.
Okay.
Because in the Mac Stories monthly log that came out today, Federico talked about his setup with screens and his iPad, and I think you'll get a kick out of it.
All right.
And he
Well,
said they talked about it on Connected, but obviously I haven't listened to it because it comes out Wednesday afternoons, and I have a road trip this weekend, so I'm saving it. But he
yeah.
said he explained it in the monthly log, but then also said him and Steven talked about it on the episode. So I'm excited to, because what I read, I think Steven's gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, like what happened to you?" Like,
Yeah.
so,
So
anyways,
I do have that in Pocket Casts, and it's on the list, and I think it might actually be next. So um, I was a little disappointed by Upgrade this week, honestly. If we're talking
I
about
haven't
podcasts, I don't
I
know that
haven't
you
listened to
listen to
that
that one,
show
but
in
yeah.
ages.
So Mike Hurley's on vacation, so Jason Snell got John Gruber to fill in for him.
Mm. Big
So
big Johnny G.
at first I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting because, John Gruber in the upgrade format will be interesting. Well, no, it really kind of ended up to being the talk show. It was like 2.5 hours long instead of an hour long. And they talked about sports a lot of the time. And I was like, that's not what I really listen to Upgrade for. So if I wanted to listen to the Gruber show, I'd listen to Gruber's show. So, which I have before. I don't dislike it. I know what I'm getting when I listen to it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not what I was hoping for. But anyway, it is what it is. They made choices. So another app that I just started using recently that actually I haven't used it a ton yet, but I was working on a paper for my biblical counseling class this last week, which, by the way, we had our last night of this module this last Monday night, and it was glorious. It was great. So we're not back at it until January now. So,
There you go.
but it's an app called Brain.fm, Focus
Oh yeah.
Music.
Mm-hmm.
So I use this. I wanted to see if I could use something that would help me focus more. And this is just it creates music based on your preferences that you set to help you focus, to help you fall asleep, to help you whatever you choose you want to do. It helps you do that. And for the most part, if I was going to review it off of using it the one time I did, I would say it worked relatively well. I think with any of that stuff, it takes a little bit of time to get used to what it's doing because at first it's a little distracting, and then once you kind of let it just fade into the background, yeah, I think it does kind of help you to focus a little bit more and get stuff done. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's my the one that I use in that ilk is called Portal,
Yeah, I
And
use that as well for sleeping at night.
Portal's awesome. I love it.
Hmm.
It's so good. And they just added a couple new ones from like St. Lucia, and
Hmm.
the spatial audio is just, oh man. If sometimes I just like, I want to go sit in the middle of the Amazon rainforest during a thunderstorm. Okay, put my headphones on and like you're there.
Yep.
It's glorious.
The difference between these two apps is that the Brain.fm um, creates like music. You know, you can
Yeah, it's
put
like
like a
AI. It's like
thunderstorm.
AI generated, right?
Yeah. So you can put like a little thunderstorm, a little lightning, a little rain, whatever, but in the background. But but it's mainly driven to create kind of an aura style like music to kind of help you focus. So it's a little different. I tried it with a little bit of a electronic music with um like for focusing, and then I gave them a couple other parameters that I liked, and then it just kind of just created a music that kind of wrapped around me and comforted me, and it was good.
Like a audible hug for your brain.
That it was.
They can have that tagline for free.
So we hit 9 o'clock, and I have a bunch of calendar events that just dinged, and
I thought I heard something.
yeah, and good task just reminded me that I had a task that I had on the list, and yeah, it's funny. Yeah, that's what you were hearing in the background. I forgot to silence my devices. So I also tried ReadKit here not long ago. I like it. It's an RSS reader, but I'm so entrenched in the reader lifestyle, REEDER, that I can't. I really can't use another RSS reader. That one just works too well for me. So
I've got a couple that I can recommend.
yeah, go ahead.
You've been on a roll. Um, so we all know that Adobe has kind of had a chokehold on the creative apps, market for a long time, whether it's, Premiere or Photoshop or Lightroom, Illustrator, that sort of stuff. There's a company in England called Serif that puts out Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo, and Affinity Publisher.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been a big fan of those because, so like, I pay the $10 a month to Adobe for Photoshop and Lightroom because I have a photo and video business, and that's still top of the charts, right? However, I don't want to pay the monthly fee for Illustrator or the monthly fee for InDesign because I use those things so irregularly that it doesn't make sense for me to have another subscription. Like the theme of this episode, right, is ditching subscriptions. And so the beautiful thing about Affinity, Publisher and Affinity Designer and Photo for that matter is you pay one fee. It's a down payment, right? And you don't pay until they come out with another version. Well, the first versions of these apps have been out for a while and they constantly get updated. They just dropped last month version 2 of all three of the apps. And because I had purchased, I only had Designer and Publisher before. Um, but because I had purchased version 1s, I was able to get version 2. I got all three for like $30. It's like a huge discount. It would have been normally like $100 or $110 for all three of them. But I got a massive discount on Affinity Photo 2, Designer 2, and Publisher 2. And that's for my Mac and are all on the iPad now too. Before only Designer and Photo were on the iPad, but now Publisher is as well. So I've got the full suite on my Mac and on my iPad. And I use Publisher a lot for making church documents, for like posters or event cards or, address, like all the stuff that you just need at a church to hand out or put on a wall or have people sign. I use Publisher, not Microsoft Publisher, Publisher, to do all that stuff, and it's great. And then just before we were recording, I spent the last hour and a half in Affinity Designer on my Mac coming up with all the graphics we need for Advent and Christmas and youth parties and kids parties and all that sort of stuff. And because we're talking about stuff we purchased this year, I was reminded of the second version of those apps. So if anyone out there is looking for an alternative to the Adobe monthly subscription, these apps are well worth your time and your money. They handle all Adobe file types, and they can import and export in any AI file or EPS or PSD or whatever you need, plus all of the print and photo file formats as well. They're really well made. Tons of YouTube videos for support and tutorials. So if you're looking to save a little money and not have another subscription, but get just as good of tools, then Affinity is where you want to look.
Yeah, and I would throw, and it's not a new app for me, but we've talked about it before. Pixelmator Pro is another one of those apps that works really well. That's my graphic design program of choice, and they do also have Pixelmator Photo. It's not an easy one to say either. For basically retouching photos and doing stuff like that. So, a couple other good options in that category.
Indubitably.
All
Did I
right.
use that word right? I don't know.
Sure. We'll go with it. Well, we've got one more thing to do before we go, so let's get to it. And of course, I didn't have the pot up that I needed to have up for sound effect. So what's delighting you today, Cam?
University of Michigan football Wolverines. We just whooped Ohio State for the second year in a row.
Nice.
And it is still an unusual feeling
Mm-hmm.
because before these 2 years, it was a dark, dark, dark path of loss.
Yeah.
So we are now 12-0. We are ranked number 2 in the country, and we play Purdue in the Big Ten championship on Saturday. And if that goes according to plan, we will be in the college football playoff for the second year in a row, playing whichever team lands second. Unless, of course, Georgia loses to LSU in the SEC championship game, in which case we'd probably get bumped up to 1. I don't want to play Georgia again. That's all I'm saying. I don't play that. But anyways, it's just 12-0 for the first time in 25 years since we won the national championship in 97. So all exciting things, very happy. And we did it without our Heisman candidate running back. He played 3 snaps. And we still beat him by 22. So
Whoop, whoop.
we were down 3 at half, and then we outscored him 28-3 in the second half. Michigan. So I'm going to fudge the numbers here a little bit because I don't have the exact numbers, but the sentiment is accurate. The last 7 games of the season, we outscored our opponents in the second half something like 150 to like 17 or 20. I mean, just absolute decimation in the second half for like 7 games in a row.
That's
it was
crazy.
A beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that, my friend, is what is called halftime adjustments done perfectly.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's exciting me because you only get so many college football games a year. And we are at least guaranteed 2 more, the Big Ten championship and the first playoff semifinal. If we win that, then we're in the national championship, which is just bonkers to even think about. So I'm excited. And that is what is delighting me, Mitch. What about you?
I thought about this quite a bit because there was a couple of things that has happened over the last week and a half or so since the last time we talked. And the circumstances around this were not something that delighted me at all. But a buddy of mine, I've been friends with him since 1998 or 1995, actually. So we've been good friends, best friends, really, for the last 27 years. And we kind of fell out of touch here a few years ago. And so, we didn't really hear from him. I sent him a couple of messages, didn't hear back. Apparently there was a phone thing, and he didn't get a message that I sent on Facebook at one point, and it was just like coincidental things that kind of that he missed. But he called me up No, it was probably about a week and a half ago, when right after the Sunday right after you and I recorded last, and his dad wasn't doing very good, and then the night before Thanksgiving he passed. His dad passed. So circumstances suck. I hate it. I really feel for the family, but to reconnect with my best friend, for the last 27 years was just really cool, and
Mm-hmm.
we want to work hard to try and stay in contact with him, and you know if nothing else, try to at least schedule time to sit down and talk, and catch up, and stuff like that. So even though the circumstances really stunk that
Mm-hmm.
surrounded all this stuff, it was really cool to get back in touch with him. So I think that
Yeah.
out of everything that's gone on over the last couple of weeks, I think that would be what's probably delighting me the most. In a more minor, uh, more minor delight, I'm really digging the shelves behind me. I picked up some shelves a couple weeks ago and put them into my studio, and I'm able to actually have a place to put a lot of my Lego builds and collectibles and stuff right now. So I'm probably going to get two more shelves to put down further that way, but two shelf units is a good start. So
Indeed. I see Grogu. Two
yep,
of them, in fact.
there's two of them back there for sure. Actually, if I move my mic here a little bit, it's
Oh
weird
boy.
because but there's another one right there. It's hard to see him, but that's a little crocheted Grogu. Hold on a second, I'll grab him. And he's probably gonna talk crap about me because I took my headphones off, so I can't hear him. But
And
anyway,
that's the deepest, darkest secret I'll ever tell.
yep. So that's my little crocheted Grogu. Is he not the
Nice.
cutest thing you've ever seen?
I mean, he's pretty weird looking in
Yeah.
general. Not
Well,
just because he's crocheted, because he's whatever that. Do we know what
they
him
don't
and Yoda are?
they don't have a name for the species.
I know, and that's
Yeah.
annoying.
There's only been three of them in all of um
Who's the third one?
Yaddle. That's
Who's
the female. Um, she, if you're watching the movies, I think she's only in the Phantom Menace in Episode 1, and she's in the background in the Jedi Council chamber. She's got some like kind of crazy hair that sticks up on the top. But she finally got her due in the new series Tales of the Jedi. She plays a significant role in the Count Dooku story that is uh, that is portrayed in the Tales of the Jedi cartoons that just came out. And I hate to call them cartoons; they're actually really, really good
the
stories.
animated
The
series?
animated series, yes. So recommend that to you and to the audience as well. So if you haven't watched that, it turned out pretty good.
Okay, on a scale of corniness,
Mm-hmm.
is it more or less corny than Clone Wars? Please say less. Please say less.
I'm
Please
gonna
say
say
less.
I'm gonna say less because it's really not made for kids.
Okay.
Not that it's got adult content in it, but you can tell that it's not necessarily made for children. So now, in defense of the Clone Wars, there's specific episodes that are corny because they're aimed at kids, but there's other parts of the Clone Wars that are
Oh
not
yeah, that
not
are a
corny at
little
all.
dark and yeah, but it's also the I call him the announcer guy, the guy that does the intro to every show.
Okay.
His ridiculous voice.
Uh huh. Yeah.
I'm not even gonna try and imitate it because it's been long enough that I would swing and miss hard. But like,
If you're struggling to get through the Clone Wars because of that, go straight to the final season and watch the final season, because I think that final season is some of the best Star Wars storytelling that I've seen in almost all of the shows, especially the second half of the last season. Like the last three, 4 episodes or so are incredible. They basically they're taking the story that is told in Revenge of the Sith, episode 3, and doing it from a different point of view. So you're hearing some of the stuff that's going on, and you're knowing some of the stuff that's going on. You're with Ahsoka during when Order 66 comes down, and
Oh.
it's just a very different point of view from anything that what you saw in the movies. So, and I think almost better in a lot of ways. So,
All right, very good. I'll give it a shot.
all right. But anyway, um, I also got an Echo Show this last week because it was $35, and I wanted a clock for my studio. And I'll just tell you, I'm kind of digging it. It's pretty cool. So
Uh,
it's the Echo Show 5 second generation, which seems to me
awful
like
name.
that's the stupidest name.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really loving how like I can have a clock right here. It can tell me what the temperature is outside. And then every so often it'll scroll through my calendar events for the day. It has some annoying little ad things that pop up every so often that you can go through and customize it quite a bit to get rid of a lot of that. Um, but I think it's working out really well for what I needed it for. So very cool.
Nice.
All right. Well, I think we're ready to wrap it up.
Yep.
So if you are looking for more of us, sometimes I wonder why, but it is what it is. Uh, hey, we got a good show. We have fun.
Indeed.
You can check out innerdialogue.show, and you can find me and anything that I'm doing on the internet, which isn't a whole lot right now, but you can check that out at mitchcraig.online. And Cam, where can we find you?
CamBrennan.com.
Keeping it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. CamBrennan.com.
You know me, I'm a simple man.
Simple man with simple needs.
Indeed. I'm not even gonna sing the Leonard Skinner song. We're just gonna walk. We're gonna rock right past it.
All right. I'm not going to talk about what needs. Anyway, Cam's turning a little red right now. All right. So, anyway, we thank you guys for tuning in, putting up with my scratchy throat tonight, and we will see you back here in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, Cam, have a good one.
Go blue.